Good evening. My name is Abu Top, and I am the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director for the City of Beverly. We are here tonight to talk about a fantastic opportunity for a brand new housing development being built in Anchor Point in Beverly. And we were going to hear some great information about this fantastic opportunity and have opportunity for folks in the audience to ask some questions and explore how you can become an application and hopefully apply and get a spot in this very beautiful and as I said, brand new housing that's going up. So just a couple of things for administrative purposes. We're going to record this session, and this is also going to be streamed and is being streamed currently on channel 99 through BevCam, and will later be available on BevCam's YouTube channel through their government YouTube channel. So you will be able to replay this or revisit this at a later date for those who may not have been able to attend this evening. Another quick note, we also will be doing this again on February 16th at the same time, 6:30. And we'll have another opportunity to visit this discussion at that time as well. Without further ado, I will introduce Anna Siedzik, who is with Harborlight Community Partners, and she's going to run through this information for us about the lottery and for applying to Anchor Point and give us some descriptions and information on the development. If you have any questions, we're going to reserve questions until Anna is done with her presentation. So you can either put your questions in the chat or raise a hand at the end, and we'll get to your questions at that time. Hopefully that sounds good to everyone. And Anna, with that, please.
Great. Thank you, Abu. And thank you so much to the City of Beverly for this awesome opportunity to share information about Anchor Point. It is a great honor to be here, and I really appreciate the chance to speak and answer questions and share a little bit more. So as Abu said, my name is Anna Siedzik. My preferred pronouns are she and her, and I'm the Senior Project Manager and Lottery Agent for Harborlight Community Partners. So I'm going to go ahead and share some information. I'm going to share my screen. Abu, maybe you'll give me a thumbs up or tell me if everyone can see that okay? Okay. So what we have here is sort of the future rendering of what this building will look like. If you were to drive past Sawyer and Tozer Roads right now by the high school, you would see a big building that has green paper on the outside. It's sort of rising up like a phoenix at the top of the hill. This is a rendering of what it will look like when it's done. So you have to use your imagination, but we're making great progress. And at this moment, we are on track to have it built and ready for occupancy in July of this year. So coming pretty soon. As Abu said, I am the Senior Project Manager, and the things we'll go over tonight are a little bit of information about Harborlight Community Partners, if anyone doesn't know. A good introduction to Anchor Point, what it's all about, what it will look like, what some of the amenities are, and then a very deep dive on what the application process is, what the lottery schedule will be, and what we would need from people if you'd like to apply. So for those of you who don't know, Harborlight Community Partners is hometown to Beverly. We are a Beverly-based nonprofit community development corporation, and we have properties all across the North Shore for seniors, for families, for folks with disabilities, for folks who are coming in and out of homelessness. And it is our mission to create equitable, decent housing for anyone who needs it at a variety of income levels. So these are some examples of some current properties. Some of you may know them, may recognize them. So we love being part of the local community. We have a lot of current properties that are in existence. And if you look here, we have several upcoming developments, several of them in the city of Beverly and across the North Shore, Anchor Point 1 being one of them, which will be in Beverly. And by the time we're done, we'll have 77 new family homes, which is a huge need. And we're excited to serve the community in that way. Overall, our impact across the North Shore has almost 500 new apartments or homes in production waiting in the wings. So we have a lot of big plans for the North Shore, and it's really great to be partnering with cities like Beverly, Salem, Peabody, Hamilton, Wenham, Ipswich, Lynn, Gloucester. You know, we are everywhere, and we're eager to work with municipalities. So again, Thank you so much to Abu and the City of Beverly tonight for giving us this opportunity to talk about our newest property, which is Anchor Point 1. So what you see here is another image of the future design of the building. When it's all done, there will be 38 apartments in the building. There will be 20 two-bedroom apartments and 18 three-bedroom apartments. We will have units that are accommodating for folks who have ADA needs or someone who might have a sensory need, meaning if you have a hearing loss or vision loss and need some additional services. Because of the unit size, these are intended for 2 to 6 person households. So that's sort of an important detail. We've been getting a lot of applications from individuals, and it is heartbreaking for us to turn folks away, but this is a property that is intended for 2 to 6 person households at this moment. We have 2 different income levels, depending on what people's annual income is. Those track to 30% and 60% of what's called AMI, which stands for Area Median Income. But that said, we also have housing vouchers that are gladly accepted. We love to have them. We will take them, whether it's Section 8 or MRVP. There's no issue there with this building. There is a local preference for people who currently live, work, or have students in the public schools in Salem, Peabody, or Beverly. So I'll get to the details of what that means, but this is a really great opportunity for people from those 3 communities specifically. There was a great agreement signed between the mayors of those 3 towns to offer that local preference. So that is one of the factors we're looking at when accepting applications. And it's also important to note that some of these apartments will be reserved for people who are currently homeless. We have a homeless preference as well. And in those cases, we have some permanent project-based housing subsidies that will help offset the rent. So there's a lot of diversity of options here for depending on where people are coming from and what their income needs might be. So this is where it gets exciting. This is a small rendering of one of the features of this building. The rent includes, this is really important, the rent includes free on-site parking, but it also includes utilities. And I think for anyone paying utility bills these days, you know what a huge advantage that is. So the heat, AC, electricity, and water is all going to be part of the rent. Individual residents will be responsible for telephone, Wi-Fi, cable. If you want to have the most elaborate, Dish Network, Netflix account you want, that's on you. But the basic utilities will be included in the rent. And in addition to that, the entire building is brand new construction, which is great. There'll be cart operated laundry on every floor of the building. It's not in every individual apartment, but it will be on every floor. But within each apartment, you can control your own heat and your own AC, which there's nothing worse than your neighbor turning up the heat and you can't control it at all. So that's a good feature. There will be a playground, and you see sort of a rendering here of what we expect that will look like. There are private patios and entrances for some of the units. Again, there are some units that have type 2 ADA and sensory accessibility. It's up on top of the hill. So there's a great view of downtown. I think most people can kind of imagine what that looks like. So it's a beautiful layout right there at the corner of the intersection. In addition to the large individual apartments, we also will have community rooms for hosting birthday parties, small gatherings. There will be public Wi-Fi available in those areas. So it's a great feature for folks who are going to live there. In terms of the physical build of the apartments, the bathrooms will have tile flooring, large open windows, wood plank vinyl floors, brand new kitchen appliances. And most of the apartments also have Juliet balconies, which I'll confess I had to look up what that meant. If you imagine Romeo and Juliet will be a small little balcony that you can step off, and that's what you're going to be able to see. In terms of overall location, it's very close to Beverly High School. It's close to downtown Beverly. It's right up by the new Whole Foods, by the North Shore Consortium. It's a great location. And of course, we all benefit from having access to the commuter rail and 128 just by virtue of being in Beverly. These are a couple of sample floor plans, so you get a sense of what the 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and 3-bedroom, 2 baths will look like. These are good size units. That's something really important to note. So almost 1,000 square feet for the 2-bedroom units and over 1,000 square feet for the 3-bedroom units. Lots of size, lots of closet space, big open layout. So they'll feel quite spacious once you're there. And this is a new feature. We didn't have these last time we presented to the public. These are some interior renderings to give you a sense of what the apartments will actually look like. So this is the view, obviously looking towards the living area. This is the view from the kitchen. This is the view back the other way. And this last view here, you get a sense of how the balcony might play into all of that. So the big, spacious, beautiful apartments, you will have to design your own furnishings, but this is a sense of what you could have. So let's talk a little bit about the application process and what these rental ranges mean. So as I said, there are 2 different size apartments, and they have a variety of income options for people. So if you look at the first line where we have 15 units that are designed for households of 2 to 4 people, the rental range of those units is between $1,469 up to a maximum of $1,812. And those are rental ranges. The maximum is set by HUD. That is a metric coming out of the federal government. And what that corresponds to is an income range with a minimum income of $50,366 and a maximum income of a little over $80,000. And that $80,000 amount you see would be the maximum income for a family of 4. So if you're a family of 3, it's a slightly lower amount. A family of 2, it's a slightly lower amount. So this is a range of income based on your family size. We also have some 2-bedroom units that are, again, set aside for folks who have a lower income limit. In this case, these are subsidized by permanent project-based vouchers. So if you are an applicant whose income falls below that $40,000 mark, and again, that's the level for a family of 4, then what you end up doing is paying only 30% of your gross income, and the project-based voucher will subsidize the rest. So this is intended to help people who are at a lower income economic level, people who might be coming out of homelessness, who just need a little bit more support. And then moving on to the 3 bedrooms, you see a similar structure. The rent ranges between $1,696 to a little over $2,000. And the minimum income here is $58,000 all the way up to $93,000 and change, which is really an amazingly high limit. And we're really focusing here on providing workforce housing for people who have regular jobs with decent incomes. And I think anyone who's tried to rent an apartment or buy a house knows just how outrageous the market is right now. So these are really, really moderate incomes that have a range of options. And again, those rents will include utilities, which is a huge benefit. Again, the rent itself is coming from the overall Boston, Quincy, Cambridge metropolitan service area. So we are part of that group. Even though incomes tend to be a little bit lower in our specific neck of the woods, we're part of this overall regional area, which is why the rents and incomes are actually as high as they are. Some key dates and deadlines to pay attention to. The first one, which is the most important, this is why that we're doing these sessions when we are, March 1st is the final application deadline. And when we say final application deadline, that means all paperwork, all financial support information, bank account statements, pay stubs, anything that we need to document your application has to be received. If it's not in our hands on March 1st, it will not be included in the application. So that's really important that I can't stress that enough. If you're interested in applying, please apply now, because sometimes we have to go back and forth. Sometimes we need additional documentation. Sometimes we have questions. So on a rare occasion, we get a perfectly baked application that has everything we need without any follow-up, but most of the time there's a little back and forth. So March 1st, the deadline is real, and unfortunately, we will not be able to accept or process or add to any applications that are not complete by that time. 2 weeks later, on Zoom and in person at the Beverly Public Library, we will have the actual lottery, which I'll talk about in a second, and it will be like a lottery. We will draw numbers out of a bowl, and it will be really exciting. And we're trying to get as many people qualified as we can. So that's March 15th. Then over the next few months, March 16th, June 30th is what we're calling the lease up period. So this is when we'll go back to applicants whose numbers were drawn and in a very particular order, offer them an opportunity to actually lease an apartment. Part of that process will be an additional set of guidelines and qualifications that have to be met. There will be criminal background checks, there will be credit checks, there'll be tenant references, more paperwork than you could possibly imagine. And it's all building up to July 1st, which is when we expect this building to be ready for occupancy, meaning that people will actually get to move in, which is really, really exciting. So this lottery is a little complicated. And the reason it's complicated has to do with that local pool. So again, this is a lottery that has a local preference. Local meaning applicants who live, work, or have children attending schools in Salem, Beverly, or Peabody. Then on top of that, there's also an open pool, which will have anyone who lives outside of those three cities, as well as anyone living in those three cities. Let me explain that again. The local pool is only for residents who have a preference from the Salem, Beverly, and Peabody. The open pool is everyone else and people from those three places. So what that means is then we draw the lottery, people in the local pool actually get drawn twice. So what does that look like? Right now, we're in the process of screening applicants. And if you have been qualified, you'll get a letter that has a unique number to you. So for example, if I was applying for this lottery and my name is Anna Siedzik, I might be given lottery number 1. I might be the first person qualified. The reason we do that is so that the lottery itself can remain anonymous, so that when we're pulling the numbers out, people don't know whose number is attached to the specific person. So that's a way for us to track the numbers without revealing at the moment, hey, Anna Siedzik, you're number 1. Then everyone knows what your number was. Everything is public. So that's a purposeful step to make things confidential. So the first step after that is we'll draw in order anyone who's in the local pool, and we'll draw all of the numbers out of the bowl until we're done. And we will write down what number everyone was drawn. That becomes the waitlist order for the local pool. We do the exact same thing for candidates from the open pool, which again includes all the local pool people and anyone else. Once we have our 2 lists, that is the end of the lottery. That will be all that happens on March 15th. So that's also an important detail I want to drive home. On March 15th, you will know what number you have been drawn and where you are in the order. That does not mean that we're going to be awarding the units right then and there. We will not know that night what units everyone gets. Then we'll go back to the office and over the next few days start to award and figure out who ordered within each pool, who's number 1, who's number 2, who's number 3, so on and so forth. But when we do that, we have a couple particular preferences we have to pay close attention to. By law, the very first set of apartments we're going to be awarding are anyone who has an ADA or sensory need. And that's because folks who have accessibility needs have very limited options for housing. And so they have the very first preference. Anyone who needs an accommodated unit will be given first preference for those groups within their income groups that they qualify for. So that comes first. After that, we look at all the local preference units, and state law allows us to award up to 70% of all apartments can have a local preference. So in this case, that ends up being 26 out of 38 units. Ideally, will go to people within those 3 cities. After we're done awarding the the local units, we award the remaining open pool units based on the open pool draw order. And after that becomes the big lease up process. So we have our order, everyone has a number, then we start to reach out to everyone and say, congratulations, your number was pulled in the lottery. Are you still interested in renting the apartment? If so, we go through the whole next round of paperwork. So once we get through that process, obviously, we're going to have more people who have applied than we have apartments for. There will be a wait list, and that wait list will be maintained long into the future. The wait list is created from the open pool. So this local preference only applies during this initial round of leasing for the first time. So what that means is if you want to be in this lottery, now is the time to apply, because moving forward, the wait list will come from the open pool. So I'll give you a real example of what that means. Let's say you didn't hear about this lottery, or maybe you thought you could go in later, or maybe you just were distracted. Who knows, whatever the reason is. Even if you're from Salem, Beverly, or Peabody, and you apply after the lottery starts, you automatically will go to the bottom of the list. So let's say we have 500 applicants for the lottery. We go through the process, we create our wait list, and afterwards you apply. You will automatically, no matter what your application says, you will be number 501. So applying for the lottery is the most important thing you can do right now, because it will preserve your ability to be considered for an apartment now, but also moving forward. And I can't stress that enough. So this is the time. Do not wait. And the wait list will be created from the open pool. After that, we'll sort of move through the list, and we will lease them up and hopefully get everyone a house. So the last piece of information I wanted to give you are just where you can get an application. You can go onto our website. We have applications available in 5 different languages, as well as informational flyers you can share with friends or family members. So the website's a great place to start. You could also email us and we'll send you a PDF. Or if you want to pick one up in person, you can come to our offices on Elliott Street. You can go to City Hall, or you can go to the library, which also has paper applications. Lastly, if you have any questions or concerns, that's me. That is my email address. That is my direct phone line. It's now out in the public. So Abu, if I get lots of questions, we'll know where it came from. That goes right to my desk, and I'm happy to answer any questions that people might have either now or in the future. And with that, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Thank you, Anna, very much for that. Very comprehensive overview. It sounds fantastic. The fact that they have utilities included is huge. It is a huge piece of that. And I know that can be a burden for many families trying to maintain the rent and to, also have to try to cover utilities, which also can be astronomically high. So I think this is a really great situation for many people in many different situations in their lives. So really great opportunity. The questions for anyone that is joining us on the call today, please let me know. We have on the bottom of the screen, you can see this as a function to raise hand. If you have a question, you can tap that and we can unmute you and you can ask your question.
There's no questions. That means I covered absolutely everything, right? It's all
perfectly
clear.
Well,
good. Yes.
We have a question. Patricia, please unmute yourself.
My only question was that I saw that the lottery was in person or via Zoom. Will you release the Zoom link when it gets closer to the time?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Good question. Yep. Anyone who's entered into the lottery will get an email from me with the Zoom link, and we'll also post it onto our website before the lottery. So it will be there for you. Actually, though, Patricia, thank you for asking the question. I realized there's something important I didn't say, which is you do not have to attend the lottery to be part of the lottery. So if you're busy on March 15th and you can't make it or something comes up, you do not have to be there or on the Zoom to participate. That's a really important note too. So we'll take care of you no matter whether or not you're actually there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that question. Anyone else have a question? I'll also say quickly, when we're looking at folks, again, in the different income ranges that you noted for us, I think is an important piece too. We've got, plenty of working families here, some who live here, some who commute in from here. And as we're continuing to look at, our city continuing to grow in many different ways, I think this is really a great opportunity for folks to be, kind of dialed into what's available here as a real option for, when sometimes people might have a perception that, Beverly's too expensive or, we couldn't possibly, live here. But, lo and behold, there are options for you and a really good one. So, yeah,
I'm really glad you said that too, because Harborlight, is all about creating homes. And I think part of what's great about this particular project is that there are homes for a variety of people from a variety of different income brackets. And as you were saying, and we're looking at those numbers, $80,000 a year, $90,000 a year, those are sizable incomes. Those are incomes for a lot of people who have really good paying jobs. And I think it's really helpful to stress that to the public who's listening is that, these are homes that are creating opportunities for people who want to move to Beverly, who want to have their kids in schools here, who work in Beverly, who want to be close to the train. This is a great opportunity. And frankly, again, the market is tight. There's so little inventory. Costs are up everywhere. The apartments are not available. Good luck trying to buy a house right now. I have no idea how people are even accomplishing that. And that scarcity is what's driving up rental costs everywhere you go. So if you look at those rents compared to a market rate rent, especially, and again, not to I don't want to be grandiose here, but these apartments are 1,000 square feet, brand new, beautiful, beautiful properties. Good luck finding something with those kind of amenities at that price point right here in the commuter rail. So again, it's a very competitive offer if you think of it that way. And it's really important to frame it properly, that you think about who makes 80 grand a year, 60 grand a year. They are office workers, teachers, firefighters, all kinds of service personnel, right? All kinds of healthcare workers, people who work at Beverly Hospital. I mean, if we really got organized, we could probably do a zip line from the top of the building over to the hospital, over to the Whole Foods, and down to the high school. Maybe that will come into the next phase. So the location, I mean, I think that would be fun, actually, or maybe it's an idea, right? But I think if you really think about where it's situated and who could benefit, all of the people who live in this area, this housing is for you. And again, Harborlight is really proud to offer something big and beautiful and new with great amenities. So I don't know if I can sell it any harder than that. That's my best pitch. I wish I could live there. I wish I could make it happen.
Seriously. Absolutely. Absolutely. And as a parent, when I think about costs for my children's activities and camps and things like that, you want them to be involved with, to know that, you can, have some of that concern possibly alleviated with, the inclusion of the utilities for, and that wide range, and that those prices being, under $2,000. And as you know, nice size apartments as well. You're not spending $2,000 and only getting 600, 700 square feet of apartment. You're getting so much more than that. So you're right. I would do it. Well, thank you so much. I know we're close to our time. I thank you all who are here on the call. If there's a last call out for any questions before we wrap for the evening. Again, this has been streamed. It'll be available on YouTube on BevCam's government channel. So please check it for further another look and listen. Please tell any friends or colleagues that you come across who might be interested in this. And again, we will be doing this conversation again on February 16th, same time, 6:30. So you'll have another opportunity to further explore this fantastic opportunity here in Beverly. Any other questions? No? All right. Thank you all for joining us. Anna, thank you very much. BevCam and Harborlight.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for partnering with the city, and we look forward to talking again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.